All right, peace world. This is Kevon Freeman, broadcasting live here in St. Louis. We at Radio Color Change, do something at Mocha Bees, which is the most radical coffee shop in all of St. Louis. They don't even allow police officers in here. This is my favorite quiz shop on the East Coast. Well, I should say East Coast. We're in the Midwest now, but we're still doing it up. Shout out to Miss Thug Nasty. But right here, that's right. But right here in the place to be is one of my favorite people that I've run into in St. Louis and Ferguson since we've been here covering the tragedies of Mike Brown and calling for justice and radical police reform. This is right here. This sister was chanting down Babylon in front of the Ferguson Police Department, almost by herself with no bullhorn. Radical sister, and I just love her for her energy, for real. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll introduce you to Ashley Sullivan. No relation to Jasmine Sullivan, you know what I'm saying? But we still talking about lions, tigers, and bears out here. So, baby, please, tell me what got you involved with this action and why you have quickly embraced your art activism right this now.
It's probably the fact that it hits closer to home now that it's in our area. You hear about this stuff on the news and it's saddening because there's not much you can really do about it. But the minute it hits close to like hometowns and stuff, you start wondering who's next. Like your brothers, nephew. I have a 10-month-old nephew that I'm terrified to bring up in this area, or any area for that matter. And it's one of those things where it's like, if you don't fight now, when are you ever going to fight? Like, what's the point of sitting silently when there's something you can do about it? Everybody's tweeting, Facebooking, Instagramming, oh, justice. But then they sit at home, but they live 30 minutes away. It's a 30-minute drive. What's the commute?
That's right. It's a big difference between talking about it and doing about it. You know, and that's why our motto here we at Radio is do something. And as my man pull up in a Tesla electric car, you know, that's my thing. But when Prosecutor McCullough released the press conference with the non-indictment news, a late night press conference, do you think that he intentionally wanted to incite a riot to deflect from the irregularities of the entire grand jury process?
Most likely. To be honest, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, they could have done it any time of day to let things cool off closer to the nighttime, but nothing good happens after dark. So you do this conference when, you know, lights are going out, everything's going bad, and then all of a sudden everybody's riled up anyway because they're night owls. So this decision could have been made earlier in the morning. They could have said something about it. People would have been mad. Still mad because everybody's still doing their thing. But things would have probably not been as hectic towards the nighttime.
I think it's suspicious that, you know, not only did he do a late night press conference announcing the non-indictment, knowing what the response would be, but the National Guard only protected, you know, certain property. It didn't protect minority local businesses property.
That was a given.
And then at the same time, we are now have been made aware of some of the irregularities of the grand jury. Have you seen the Lawrence O'Donnell report that they actually fed the grand jury an outdated, unconstitutional statute when they gave the directions to the grand jury, instructions to the grand jury? The outdated unconstitutional statute said that it was actually lawful for a police officer to shoot a fleeing suspect. That was struck down in 1985, but they gave that to the jurors during their instruction. And then, before they went to deliberation, weeks later, then they corrected themselves and said, oh, the instructions we gave to you were outdated. Here are the updated versions of that statute, without ever pointing out the difference between the two. And at the same time, and I have to say this for the sake of redundancy, at the same time, one of the grand jurors, who I do not know how you got to be on a grand jury if you don't know the answer to this question, asked the prosecutor, does the Supreme Court ruling supersede Missouri state law? The prosecutor responded, you don't worry about that. It's not an answer. So,
how is that even close to being an answer?
So, with all that given, what do you think is the likelihood of Obama and Eric Holder stepping in and doing the right thing?
As sad as it is to sound, I don't think it's going to happen
no matter what.
I think, like, I'm not saying whether I'm for or against Obama or anything, but I'm thinking, like,
I'm against Obama.
I'm saying,
I'm disappointed.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying whether I'm for or against or anything, to be honest, because the thing with Obama is that I feel like he's more worried about his public figure than what he believes in. You know, like he's so worried about, okay, well if I say I'm for this much of the country's gonna hate me. If I say I'm against this much of the country's gonna hate me, rather than taking a
But this is last 2 years. He's not having another election. You think that's a legitimate concern?
Are you going to the camera? Oh, I see you over there.
No.
Well,
I don't think he's gonna do anything about it personally, and it sucks because he has the power to do something about it.
I saw you speaking truth to power in the Ferguson Police Department at the top of your lungs. You was wearing your voice out. How's your voice? You sound great. Okay. Sure, no relation to Miss Sullivan?
Could be like a distant cousin.
Okay. Because you sound great. Come on here, Miss Thug Nasty. Come on in the shot. Come on in here, join us. Come on the other side. Maybe look good. All right. Now, this is what we're talking about. What making this movement unique is that they have politicized young people. The fact of the matter is that you guys have, because of your do somethingness, the entire world now knows this story. The entire world now knows about Ferguson, Missouri. Now, we got Eric Garner's murder in New York on tape. The whole murder's on tape. But Mike Brown's case has been a much bigger story. Why? Because of your do something. If y'all hadn't stood up, if y'all hadn't spoke out against this, then it wouldn't be the story it is today. So I want to thank you. But let me ask you this final question. This is for both of you. I want to answer for both of you. What would you like to see happen? And what do you think the panacea would be to prevent this from happening again? Radical police reform, whatever laws you need to change, policy changes. What would you like to see happen, and what do you think needs to happen? I want to hear from both of you.
To be honest, what I'd like to see happen out of this situation alone is for it to go a step further, for the family to fight further on. That way there is some form of punishment towards Darren Wilson. But to prevent it for later on...
Hold on, I'm supposed to spit when you say Darren Wilson. Hold on. Go right ahead.
And to prevent it from happening again, in all honesty, it's simple things, and they did the math on it. All police officers wear cameras. You know, keep it on them at all times, no matter whether they off duty or on duty. If you're an off-duty cop, which is the same thing, or even neighborhood watch, like with the Zimmerman situation, they got to be put in the same circumstance. If you're off duty, there's nothing you can really do, because then that's how a lot of people are getting hemmed up, because they were an officer. But that doesn't mean nothing. They were off duty. They shouldn't have acted the way they acted. So the main thing would probably be the cameras and harsh punishment for wrongdoing. Instead of getting slaps on the wrist.
And should cops really carry guns when they're off duty?
Huh?
Should cops really carry service weapons off duty?
I don't
Most places actually ask the cops.
I think that's a great question. If you didn't catch that, he said, should cops be able to carry a service weapon off duty?
Off duty, I don't think they should be able to carry like a gun or something to prevent situations like that. Maybe a taser or something, because it's the same thing with the 12-year-old boy. The cop was within 10 feet.
Firefighters don't take water hoses home with them. So, well, I'm just saying.
There's other means than just guns, though. Like, there's other means of handling things. Like, apprehending somebody, okay, shooting them down, there's nothing right about it, ever. Ever. There's no right in that at all.
And Thug Nasty, ladies and gentlemen.
Alright, so you said to go from here, I would say I definitely want to see Darren Wilson.
Yeah, spit.
Spit. Holla. I would like to see Darren Wilson this further go to a federal court case. I would like to see them, deal with justifying his civil rights were violated, Mike Brown's were, any of that. I would like to see it go a step further than just at the state level, where the grand jury obviously didn't do their job and it was set up in a racist way so that Darren Wilson wouldn't get indicted. I think that's bullshit. So I would like to see that go a step further. After that, though, to prevent this further on, I think there needs to be a radical change in our entire society. It's not just cops out here that are killer cops. It's our whole system is set up to discriminate against black individuals. And not just black individuals, minorities all over the place. So I feel like from there we need to upheaval the entire system. We need to get to the root of what our institutionalized discrimination is against minorities. And in order to do that, these riots that people are quoting about, I mean, look at the civil rights movement. It wasn't peaceful like they say it was. They were out there rioting it up just like the rest of us. In order to get change, you have to riot the system out so that you can create it over from scratch again. So in order to do that, we need to talk about the institutionalized discrimination, the racism that exists in our society. We need to talk about all of that. We need to change that so that we don't have to worry about killer cops. Killer cops aren't the problem, it's a symptom. It's not the root of the issue, though. So in order to get away from that, we need to, changing the entire system. But to go for now, we need to get cop cameras. They got that gun holster mechanism that sets up so that when you withdraw it from the holster and then when you shoot it, it's also documented. I mean, how in the hell do you can count to me how many bullets are dislodged in the system, but you can't tell me how many people are dying from these bullets? That's bullshit. It's a cover-up. All of this is a fucking cover-up. The entire system is screwed.
It's just like you said, we stop making this a race issue when this country starts making our race an issue.
Exactly. I've been saying that since day one. So.
And I want to put this in a historical context as I'm the elder here, embracing my junior eldership. And it's about the three evils that Martin Luther King told us about: militarism, racism, and poverty. And we cannot deflect from that. This is not about riots. As Martin Luther King again also said, the riots are simply the voice of the unheard. This is not about riots. Riots is the result of the injustices inflicted upon a people who have been oppressed, ignored, and frankly preyed upon by a domestic terrorist police force. All right? And that's what we're talking about. And I want to simply close with saying this. How can you expect us to respect your property when you don't respect our lives?
We'll stop making this a race issue when this country stops making our race an issue.
I'd just like to say for those of you that are out there watching and listening and stuff, get out and do something about it. I mean, we can't change our system unless we're out here. Young people are the power. I mean, we out here making changes for our generation, and you know the society is fucked up, and you know it's against minorities and specifically black males and black females, and I'm tired of it, quite frankly, as a black female. So
Sitting at home ain't gonna do nothing about it.
Sure
You gotta be
not.
on the streets doing something.
We Act Radio, do something.